After gathering the requirements comes the design step of our projects. And here we have someone that's called UI UX designer. In some companies, we have both roles. We have someone that's called UI designer and another role that's called UX designer. But this happens in big companies. In smaller companies, mostly the same person takes the two roles. So what is the difference between UI and UX? UI means user interface. So the user interface is what you see when you open the application. So for example, in this slide, okay, this is the user interface, okay, the title, the background color, the photo that is here, this is called the UI, okay. So in any website or any mobile application or desktop application or even watch application, this is the UI, okay. This person uses tools like Illustrator and InDesign in order to create the design of the application. So it's very similar to graphic design. He is not a graphic designer, but we call him UI designer. On the other hand, the word UX means user experience. It is not talking about what is present on the screen. It talks about the whole experience of the user while he is using your application. Is he interacting with the application in an easy way or not? Is the application self-explanatory or not? For example, part of UX is the number of screens that are required in order to do a simple task. So for example, let's say I need to purchase an item from your website, okay? So in some applications, we might have 10 screens that the user has to go through in order to complete the purchase process successfully, okay? From signing up, logging in, and so on. In other application, those might be minimized to only 5 screens. So this is UX, this is not UI, okay? In UI, we will design the screens. In UX, I will minimize the number of screens and will make them easier to interact with. So when we say that this application colors and design is good, here we are saying that the UI is good. If we say that, okay, this application UI is good, okay, the colors are good, the application looks very well, but I am not feeling a good feeling while I'm using it, okay? It doesn't feel good. In this case, I'm criticizing the UX of the application. So, for example, in UX, you might create user interviews in order to get feedback from the users. So, the software tester is not a UI or UX designer, but your input on UI and UX is very important, okay? You might give feedback on the colors. You might give feedback on the user experience itself. Is the application easy or not? Even if you are not a professional in software design, but you are a user. The software tester at the end is a user of the application. And also you might have a deep experience in other projects that gives you the ability to criticize the application and say this application design is good or not. Also, sometimes the design of the application itself is used to generate the test scenarios and the test cases. So you might have the design of the login screen before the application is developed, okay? And this design helps you in generating your scenarios. Sometimes you compare between the design, which might be a Figma design. This is a tool that is used in software design. You might compare it with the real application. Is it the same or not? Also, in some systems, we have standards. So for example, for iPhone, we have some standards for designing the applications. The same for Android. So you might understand those standards and make sure that the application goes with those standards. Sometimes also you might test the application for accessibility. Is it accessible or not? In this case, also reviewing the design is part of your job.